Hi everyone. So let's start. First of all, it is very much clear that this whole journey which you have taken up is based on comprehensive coverage of prelims. When it comes to polity, so our way of dealing with polity would be, it won't be just informative. You all know what is written in Lakshmikant, in which chapter what is written. The common problem is when it comes to attempting question, students are not able to differentiate between those two or three statements which seem to be closer. So our approach would be dialectic in nature. It means koi pravachan nahi hone wale. It means when I'm going to take up first topic, I'm going to pose some questions from you. I'm going to ask some questions. Today, these questions would be in terms of statement. So I'll say one statement and ask, what do you think? Is it true or false? So without any inhibition, you just mention what you think is true, what you think is false. This way, what would happen that those chances of making mistake in the prelims would be eliminated as we move ahead. Because when it comes to polity, it is a very scoring section. When it comes to the weightage, you all know that around 20 questions out of 100 are going to be asked from this polity. And you can score 20 out of 20, means you can target 20 questions without any jerk. What needs to be done is to follow this approach. Okay. So let's start. Since our first topic is historical background of Indian Constitution, right? So even though I know that you people are going to attempt prelims to 27 and you must be having some background knowledge of polity, even then, from my side, I'm considering that you have zero knowledge. Okay, that's my assertion. So my lecture would be surrounded with certain basic points on which UPSC asks questions. Okay, so just have some patience when it comes to these basics, because basics are important too. Some of the points which I've included in today's lecture are not available in Lakshmikant. That doesn't mean that Lakshmikant is not the main source. Lakshmikant is the main source. Rest comes from the MCQ practice. So I'm getting you covered. So when it comes to historical background of Indian Constitution and its making, first we need to understand why it was needed. Why we need a chapter like historical background in Indian polity. And if we go further, why we need polity? Just listen clearly. I'm going to talk about some basic points, some terminologies which are going to be used in future lectures. When it comes to polity comes from this word polis, which means a city-state, which means an area in Europe, because this word came from Europe, an area which consider it as it of size, say a city, example Athens or Sparta, and there is some structure, means there are some institutions, for example judiciary, for example legislature, for example executive. No matter what kind of system of government is there, polity is there. It means there can be a nation in which we find monarchy, but there's a political structure. So understanding of political institutions means judiciary, legislature, executive. So no matter we talk about monarchy, no matter we talk about presidential form of government in terms of say democracy, no matter we talk about democracy, another form of government, parliament, in polity we study about political institutions, power sharing and their working. So when it comes to polity, can we say we are talking about form of governments? When we talk about government, what is the need of government? We all need a structure to support our need. We need someone to look after us in a way that someone is legislating means legislature. Someone is making laws. We need someone who is ensuring execution of those laws, means executive. We also need someone who is interpreting, means checking whether laws are being implemented in the letter and spirit or not. So there's judiciary. It means we have law-making institution, we have implementing institution, and we have interpreting institution. We have all these. When it comes to legislature in India, when I say word parliament, this parliament consists of Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, and president. Since I'm talking about two houses, means one is Lok Sabha and another is Raj Sabha, it means India is having bicameral legislature. India is having bicameral legislature since we are having two houses, Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha. Now, it's your duty as I move into this historical background of Indian Constitution, you have to tell me by which act made by Britishers for the first time this bicameral legislature came into existence in India. So that is your duty, although I'm going to cover, but be focused. Because why we are having this lecture, historical background of Indian Constitution? Because we want to understand that whatever kind of structure we are having in India as of now, how it is connected to the laws, rules made by Britishers. Got it? So, when it comes to executive, we all know that head of the executive or executive head of India is president, and president is supported by a council of ministers headed by prime minister. We all know this is basic, right? When it comes to forms of government, and we are talking about India, we also talk about two models. One is federal model, means federal government. Another is unitary model, means unitary government. So when I ask, what is federal government? So what would be your answer? I'm saying one statement, and you have to identify which of the two statements are correct. Statement number one. Federal model of government consists of distribution of power between center and states only. This is statement number one, means center and state के बीच में जो power distribution है, the power distribution between center and state, if some government is working like this, then it means it is federal government. The word is only. Second statement is, when we talk about federal government, it means distribution of power between center, state, and local level government. Okay. So which of the two statements are correct? Option is एक second. Option is 1 is correct, B is 2 is correct, or C is none of these. So you have only 3 options because these two statements are exclusive in nature. Pranita is saying 2. Great. So answer is 2 is correct. It means when we talk about federal form of government, this model represents distribution of power between center, state, and local government. So what happened with some people who answered 1? Are your concepts wrong? No. The thing is, the word federal is used too many times in the context of relation between center and state. So many students have this misconception that whenever the word federal government is used, it means distribution of power can happen between center and state only. And that is a misconception. UPSC, I know that some of you are going to make this mistake. And that's why before I start my historical background, before I start the 1773 Regulation Act, I asked this question to let you know that there are some areas with regard to some basics where UPSC can lay a trap. And you need not to get into this trap. So when it comes to federal government, we talk about center, state, and local government. And when I say local government, it means Panchayati Raj institutions can be there. Panchayati Raj institutions, municipalities. So these are also one pillar of the concept of federal government. I hope you got the point. When it comes to unitary, you have this word unit here. Unit means 1. So here we are talking about center. Means when all the power, all the major power is concentrated into one government, one level. Here we are having distribution of power at 3 levels. But here we are talking about unit. Unit means 1. 1 means central government. All the power is in hand of central government. Consider the example of the proclamation of national emergency. So when national emergency is there, Article 352, you're going to have this lecture on emergency separately. We are going to deliberate or dwell into the depth of those concepts, and also with the MCQs which have been asked and which can be asked. But the thing is, when it comes to national emergency, the power which states have, the subordinate bodies have, can be considered into one, which is central government. I hope you are clear until now. If you are clear now, just yes. Now, before I start with 1773 Regulation Act, I want to tell you the background why these acts came into being. So you all know that Britishers entered India in 1600. Okay, and why they came? They came for business, they came for trade. When it comes to laws, when it comes to rules which are implemented in India as of now, I'm not talking about history. First, I'm saying if I look a cursory view on the type of laws which are in action as of now, I can segregate those laws into 2 parts. One, those laws which were made during British era. Those laws which were made by British company. Some laws made during English East India Company rule, and when some laws were made when British Crown directly took over, when British Crown directly took over Indian rule in India. When I say India, I mean British India. So when I say company rule, whenever I'm going to use this word company rule, consider this in mind. I'm talking about 1773 to 1858. All the laws made in this period, I'm going to say the rule has been made during company rule. Whenever I'm going to say crown rule, it means that I'm talking about 1858 Government of India Act to India Independence Act 1947. Okay. So all the laws which are made in this period, can we say that they are pre-independence laws, right? These were made before India got independence. And yes, these are in implementation as of now. There are many laws which we have borrowed by that time. Even our administration, the purpose of this chapter is to let you know that many positions which we have as of now are borrowed from the British era. They made the political institutions, and we, at the time of independence, we thought, why make this test and error practice when we already have established rules? If these rules are working in a good manner, let's tweak these rules so as to maximize the welfare of Indian state. So that's why we adopted these rules. Then second part is the laws which are made after the enactment of India Independence Act 1947. Okay. So the basic rule, the basic framework was this Indian Constitution, which we have to master during this time. So English East India Company, it was a private company of Britain. And this company approached Queen Elizabeth I and asked him, ma'am, there's a country, there's an area, there was no country, there was an area which was Indian subcontinent, and there's huge market as well as resources. So please allow us, give us license to exclusively trade with this area. Queen Elizabeth thought, what is my benefit in this? Then those members, or I would say partners of that private company in English East India Company said, ma'am, if our trade increase by setting our footprints in Indian subcontinent, then it would be your benefit too. How? Because when our trade will increase, our income will increase. And if our income increase, our tax to British Crown will also increase. So it sounds like a good offer. So Queen said, okay, I'm giving you the charter. Charter means a license to trade in this Indian subcontinent. And if any other British private company came to me, means Queen Elizabeth I, then I will tell them that no, you can't trade in Indian subcontinent as a British company because I am giving exclusive right to English East India Company. Maze aa gaye English East India Company ke. So finally, they entered India as a trader. Then you all know that in modern history, you have gone through the period of Battle of Plassey. You have gone through this word called dastak. Can someone tell me what was dastak? Because our laws, the changes were a lot of connection to this concept called dastak. Yeah, dastak was a trade permit. Very well said, Himanshu, Rumi, Saurav, all are correct. Yeah, it was kind of a pass to trade. Okay, trade in Indian territory. You all know that you have covered this in modern history. But the thing is, Britishers were misusing this dastak. When Britishers were given this pass to trade in India, the trading counterparts, means the Indian natives, were supposed to give tax, but Britishers were exempted from this tax through this dastak. So Britishers were having first leverage, like they were not supposed to pay the amount of tax which Indian subjects were giving, and these British officers found a jugaad. What they did, they started misusing this dastak and allowing other traders to trade freely via these permits. So it was kind of a, I would say, tax evasion from the Nawab of Bengal. So till how much time can someone be blinded to such acts? So finally, you all know that Battle of Buxar happened 1764, then Allahabad Treaty, and after this Allahabad Treaty 1765, company obtained Diwani rights. When I say Diwani rights, it means rights over revenue and civil justice. Rights over revenue means this company got the right to collect revenue from Indian people belonging to the area of Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. And we can say it started its career as territorial power. UPSC can use one statement regarding this, that via 1773 Regulation Act, British English East India Company started its career as territorial power. You will mark as wrong, because the purpose of Regulation Act 1773 was totally different. We are coming to that story. Okay, in Lakshmikant, you have this act written and the provisions written, then Apits India Act, then provisions written, then Resettlement Act, then provisions written. So I know that most of you have this issue that we know these are the provisions. The thing is, we are not able to understand these provisions. We are not able to relate to these provisions if we understand. And sometimes we forgot these provisions in exam. If this is the issue, please confirm, just mark thumbs up in comments. That way I can, think that we are on the same plane. Yes, this is the issue, right? That is why I'm going to build a storyline, and I'm going to put stress on those concepts, keywords, so that you clear those questions. Yeah, a kind of many questions. Got it. Thanks for being so responsive. So have this in mind. 1765, when this Diwani rights obtained, this was the reason that their career got establishment as territorial power. As we move to 1773 Act, first get to its background. Okay, don't look over this act. You need not to look. So first, let's understand the background. What is the background? So I'm giving an example. Consider that Divyang, Uttam, Irfan, Salvi, Hemlata, you all are officers of English East India Company. I'm giving an example. So don't get offensive. I'm giving you a special privilege that you are among the top officers of British East India Company, and I am talking about a period between 1765 to 1773. Okay, इसके बीच में जो टाइम था, in this time you were the officers. So in this time, this English East India Company officers got immense power with minimum control. If you get a lot of power and minimum regulations, what happened? What do you think Divyang, Numauddin, Irfan, Salvi, Hemlata, what do you think these people will do? Corruption. Saurav is correct. What they will do? They will do corruption, because they have a lot of power and regulations are bare minimum. So same thing was happening with English East India Company. So what happened with English East India Company, that their officers were becoming rich. But when it comes to English East India Company, English East India Company was in debt. Udhari mein aa gayi English East India Company. The reason was these officers who misused this Diwani rights in India. So this English East India Company approached Crown. This English East India Company approached Crown, and some of you might think, why English East India Company is approaching Crown if their officers are corrupt? English East India Company should have changed the officers, brought some smart provisions, should have made some changes in the processes of English East India Company so as to curb the corruption. Why this company, private company, is approaching to the Crown? The thing is, they were in so much debt that at that time, English East India Company asked a loan of £1 million from Crown. So English East India Company said, please give us £1 million. Then only we can survive our administration. Then only we can survive our this company. And if this company is running consecutively, you are going to get huge tax, and we are going to pay you back. But please give me £1 million loan, and that too on cheap interest. So at that time, the Crown made its mind that let's look into this English East India Company. What is happening there? Then Crown found that some of the officers who came to India during this period became one of the richest persons of Britain. और तभी घंटी बजी क्राउन की, और क्राउन ने कहा कि now is the time, we are going to regulate your working there. And that's why we saw Regulating Act of 1773. So this was the background. This was the story, which is not in Lakshmikant. I hope you will be able to relate to this act in a better manner now. So the purpose was to control and regulate the affairs of English East India Company, because officers were getting rich and the company was in turmoil. Recognize the political and administrative functions of the company. Foundation of the central administration in India. Let's understand this. Sometimes people think ये क्या बड़ी-बड़ी बातें हो रही हैं. No, there's nothing like कि कुछ बड़ी-बड़ी बात. The thing is, at that time when Crown was inquiring into this thing, how this is happening, then Crown thought this is a private company entered into India, and they took a charter from us. But the charter was for trade, not for administrative control. How can this Robert Clive have this administrative control, have this revenue collection power, having civil power without permission of Crown? Yes, Fatima, that was one post. There were many other posts similar to, I would say, subordinate to governor. So the thing is, at that time, Britishers found that Crown found that political and administrative, these functions are being done by company, are being performed by company. Okay, we recognize that. Okay, you are doing this thing. And foundation of central administration in India. Why I'm saying foundation of central administration in India? The reason is, at the time of this 1773 Regulation Act, if we talk about influence of British English India Company in India, there were three power centers. One was Bombay Presidency. Another was Madras Presidency. And another was Bengal Presidency. And when I'm saying Bengal, it is among the biggest and richest presidency, because Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, all the revenue collection was coming to presidency of Bengal. And all these three presidencies were having their own governor. They were having their own governor. मतलब नहीं है किसी से किसी को, अपने अपने एरिया में सुल्तान मिल जाएं. They were like the dominant power centers within their territories. Okay. Now, what happened, that British Crown suggests that let us do one thing, that we have to streamline their administration. Since these people are doing corruption, now we have to change the processes. So what British Crown did, and then finally this act made by British Parliament, they changed this Governor General to Governor, changed this Governor to Governor General. So earlier, there was Governor of Bengal, Governor of Madras, Governor of Bombay. Now, the terminology, along with the power associated with the terminology of Bengal, was changed and it was made Governor General. And now I'm using one statement. Please listen it carefully. UPSC can play along this statement. The statement is, making Governor of Madras and Governor of Bombay subordinate to Governor General of Bengal was a start of devolving their power of Governor of Bombay and Governor of Madras. Okay, yes, transmission of power. So transmission of power started in 1773 Regulation Act. I'm using the word started. You are going to know as I move ahead in this story. Okay, just remember, I use the word transmission of power started. These were subordinated. Ab Sultan Mirza kaun hai? Governor General of Bengal. And who was Governor General of Bengal at the time? You all know, that's a factual question. UPSC might not stoop to this level, but you should know. Warren Hastings, right? You all know. Great. Now another thing. So why this regulating act is called as a foundation of central administration in India? Because this governor of Bengal was termed as Governor General of Bengal. This was the reason. Okay. Now next point is, British Parliament said that we need to bring effective judicial system in British India. And for that, we are going to establish a Supreme Court there. Supreme Court there. And many would think, क्या उससे पहले कोई court vote नहीं होती थी? There was any kind of this apex court system there or not? So the thing is, there were provincial courts, and from these provincial courts, if someone has to make an appeal, then the upper authority was governor. Nothing about that, because I said these three power centers were working as sole power in their area, right? Now, what British Parliament did, established Supreme Court of India, Supreme Court of Calcutta, sorry. We won't use the word India. Supreme Court of Calcutta. Why I'm saying Calcutta? Because it was established in Bengal, okay? Now the thing is, provision was mentioned in 1773 and it was formally established in 1774. There was one Chief Justice and three other judges. And who was the first Chief Justice? You all know, the name is Eliza Impey. Those who don't know it, just have this in mind, Eliza Impey. Okay. Now comes the twist. What happened that as this regulating act 1773 came, another thing boiled up in Indian polity, in this polity of this area, which we today call India. What happened was, now this Governor General of Bengal, Warren Hastings, said, you have made me Governor General of Bengal. Means I am the top authority when it comes to British administration of British East India Company in India. But you've already established the Supreme Court. What does it mean? Can cases related to me, my work, can be appealed in Supreme Court? Earlier, I was the top authority in Bengal, and now you have got Supreme Court. Can someone put a case against me also? My work, my official work like revenue collection? So this won't be possible. You are, making things tough for me. So along with this, there was another thing happening in Britain. What was that? Since I said that British English East India Company was a private company, like Tata, Reliance, okay, it was a private company. So as we call Reliance, so you all know that majority holder or proprietor or stakeholder is धीरूभाई अंबानी थे पहले, then finally टू पार्ट में डिवाइड हो गई. अब हम बात कर रहे हैं RIL की, हम बात कर रहे हैं, we are talking about Mukesh Ambani, right? But when it comes to English East India Company, there were many merchants who pooled their money to establish this English East India Company. So what they did, when they found that so much, misappropriation of fund was going on before the 1773 Act, so what they did among their members, within their members, because there were some big merchants who were having investments in other companies also. English East India Company was their one company. They were having investments in those companies also who were trading majorly with Europe. So what they did, from among themselves, they selected few people. And these few people were called General Court. General Court. And from these people, when British Parliament and British government demanded more accountability, they said, okay, relax, we are going to do something. And British government said, what you are going to do? We need results. Tell us who are going to be responsible for what is happening in India, what revenue you are having, and what kind of tax you are going to give us. So what they did, from this general court, they selected few people, and these few people were called Court of Directors. Means this composition was called Court of Directors. And this Court of Directors has to report to British government, ki, sir, we have this license to trade in Indian subcontinent from you. So we have earned this much money. This is your share as tax. And this is how we are running the administration. So now what happened? Now Governor General of Bengal, Warren Hastings, said, what is happening? I have to report to this Court of Director, and this is Supreme Court is also above me. What is happening? You have constricted me. Another thing was, when it comes to the office of Governor General, British Parliament also said you have to include at least 4 members in your executive council, and decisions will be taken on the basis of majority. It means if majority is saying that this is going to happen and Governor General is saying, no, I'm not going to do this, then executive council will say, read this rule. This rule is saying we are part of executive council and decision will be taken on majority. So all these factors boiled up this Warren Hastings, and he written series of letters to the main members, means those are merchants of the English East India Company, and also written letters to the British Parliament, British government, even Crown, means Queen, that please change these rules because these are too restrictive to the provisions, to the powers of Governor General. If you want good administration, I will give you good administration, but give me my powers back. At one level, you have tell that I am now Sultan Mirza of whole British India. And at another point, what you are doing, you have taken these kind of, you have made this kind of provisions and taken my power away. So due to these reasons, we also had another act, which is Resettlement Act. So I'm going to go to that. Before I go, I want to elaborate a bit more on the Supreme Court. Okay. Always remember that this Supreme Court, when made in 1774, was having power over Bengal province, Madras province, and this Bombay province. Okay. So this Supreme Court was having the power of apex court when it comes to British territories in India. Okay. So now I'm just saying a statement, and you have to tell me the statement is true or not. Okay. The statement is Supreme Court established in 1774 by Regulation Act of 1773 was having a status of court of records. This is one statement. Just tell me this statement is correct or not. True or false? True or false? Let's play. I'm considering that you don't know anything. For me, you are just starting. Although my pace and my content would comprehensively cover your quality prelims. You need not to worry that, but don't stop. Just come in. Okay. Court of record, court of record. Okay, great. Now, the second statement is, I'll tell you, is it true or false? Now, second statement is, with regard to the Supreme Court, the power of Supreme Court established in 1774 by Regulation Act was applicable both on British subjects as well as Indian natives. So, now tell me. I'm repeating the statement again. Supreme Court established in 1774 regarding Regulation Act 1773 was having power over British subjects means British subjects and natives. Natives means Indians. Okay. So, सबसे पहले first statement is correct. Those who said first, this statement is correct. बधाई हो, congratulations. Court of record. When I say court of record, it means the judgment made by Supreme Court based in Calcutta can be used by provincial courts of Madras, Bombay, saying because we believe in court of record and Supreme Court in Calcutta has made this, has said this in this particular case, then we are going to use this doctrine. So that is court of record. So means this court of record kind of structure came into India by 1773 Regulation Act. So when you are revising this Supreme Court separately, just have this in mind. When you are reading this Supreme Court having power of court record, just have a, have this thing in mind. Okay, so this provision of court of record, imported in India by 1773 Regulation Act. Just make connections like this. This way, your life would become a bit simpler when it comes to polity. Okay, interconnection is necessary. Now, second statement. So this statement is false. Okay, this statement is false. And now, just listen me clearly what I'm saying now. Many of you would be considering it false because it is saying that British subjects and natives should be there. British subjects क्यों लिए यहाँ पर? British subject नहीं. जैसा कि मैंने देखा in above comments, some people were saying British subjects नहीं, only Indian subjects. Khushbu has commented correct answer. Okay. Let me clear it out. Just read this para. In the year 1774, Supreme Court was established. The jurisdiction of this court extended to all areas lying under Bombay, Madras, Bengal. Okay, presidency. Bengal presidency. Okay, within Bengal presidency, we also have Bihar and Odisha. Have this in mind. UPSC can play with you. It was court of record. Its power extended to try both civil and criminal cases only over British subjects, not on natives. Star. Whenever in my class I use the word star, have this in mind that UPSC can play with this star. Okay. If you are confirmed, let me elaborate on a bit to, clear any confusion regarding. When I say only over the British subject, not on natives, what does it mean? It means those people who were coming under the British administration. When this British subject word is used, many students have this confusion. British subject means wo gore log, Britishers. No, British subjects. If you are living in Calcutta at the time, 1774, in an area which is under the supervision of this English East India Company, then you are a British subject. Who is a native then? Native is that person who doesn't come under your power. Okay. UPSC can play that in 1774 Supreme Court was established, but its power is only on British subject, not on natives. When I say British subject, don't consider it as British citizens or Britishers. British subject. This subject means in polity, whenever we talk about subject, because my core area, I would say my domain is political science and international relations, the optional which I teach. And my second, so when I teach political science optional, so that means polity is my first love, but I have two loves, means economy is also my love. I have this love triangle with polity, economy, and polity being a pillar of political science. So whenever in political science we use this word subject, polity we use this word subject, Lakshmikant uses this word subject, but the thing is, yes, but the thing is we are not able to, have this understanding. Subject means who is being controlled. Yes, Uzan, you said correctly. I would, in place of word control, I would say who is being ruled. Okay. So ruler is English East India Company, and ruled or subjects are people of that area, mean living in that area legally, which is under English East India Company, means those people would be called as subjects. If someone is living in that province which is not under Britishers through any law, any connection, then they will be considered natives. So this Supreme Court won't be having jurisdiction over these. So this is something which UPSC, although it's quite simple, but thing is UPSC play with the statement in a manner in order to confuse you, to check your conceptual clarity. Okay. Yeah. So now, so when I mentioned you the 1773 Act, okay, I told you the plight of Governor General of Bengal. In one way, he was made Governor General from governor, centralization of administration. Yes, Shivam. But in another way, Governor General was having conflict with the power of Supreme Court. So due to this, Warren Hastings written a lot of letters. And so you can remember it like this. Between 1773 Regulation Act and Amending Act 1781, इसको हम Act of Settlement भी कहते हैं. We also say Act of Settlement. What was happening between this period? Governor General of Bengal was very touchy. I'm using the word touchy due to a reason. So he was touchy, that's why he wrote so many letters. So what British government did, British government appointed a committee. Toshe committee. Okay. So on the recommendation of this Toshe committee, this amending act was made. So I think remembering this name Toshe committee won't be difficult for you, because I have told you the whole story, whole background, how Warren Hastings was feeling. So he was touchy, and that's why he wrote so many letters, and British government seeing that Warren Hastings is feeling very touchy, let's make a committee, Toshe committee. So the person who was chairman of this committee was Mr. Toshe, and that's why this committee was made, and thus some changes were made. So what were the changes? The point which was raised by Warren Hastings were considered, and this is very much clear from this thing. So it settled the question of jurisdiction of Supreme Court. and demarcate relation between Supreme Court and Governor General. So let me elaborate on these provisions. Okay, it would be more clear. Let's work on these provisions. First, change in the power of Supreme Court. Governor General of Bengal was saying the Supreme Court is having too much powers. Please reduce this power. I want to be the main authority. Then what this act did, the servants of the company which earlier came within the jurisdiction of Supreme Court were now exempted from the jurisdiction of Supreme Court. It means now these servants of the company will be exempted from the jurisdiction of Supreme Court. Okay. So as Supreme Court made, it was having a lot of powers, but by 1781, its power get reduced. Non-interference in revenue matters. This was one point raised by Governor General of Bengal. So now what British Parliament did, British Parliament said, whatever this Governor General of Bengal and its officers on his direction doing with regard to revenues, you don't have to interfere in it. When I say interfere, what does it mean? If someone is presenting a case before Supreme Court that this thing is wrong, for revenue collection, they are doing malpractices, then Supreme Court will say, we don't have power to deliberate or discuss or present our decision on matter related to revenues. तो आपको नहीं लगता मजे आ गए गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ बंगाल के, है ना? So the court now had no jurisdiction in the revenue matters concerning revenue or any act which was done in the collection thereof. The government now became independent of the control of the court in the matter of revenue. Don't you think it is a big thing? Next point is this: the shift of appellate jurisdiction from court to the Governor General and Council. The appellate jurisdiction means, earlier I said in 1773 Regulation Act, when Supreme Court was made, it was having appellate jurisdiction. Appellate jurisdiction means if someone appealed from a province, from a Madras province, if someone is not satisfied with the decision of provincial court, he has this or she has this power that they can move to Supreme Court of Calcutta. But when it comes to this act changed this. What they did, the appellate jurisdiction shifted in the hands of Governor General and Council. It means now Governor General and Council has this power to listen to the appeals. Now the appeals went from provincial courts to the Governor General in Council. छीन लिया हक Supreme Court का. The assertion of the application of the personal laws. Another point is, when in 1774 the Supreme Court was established, many legal luminaries of Britain came to India. Judges from Britain came to India. But what they were doing, they were basing their judgments on the laws made by Britishers or doctrines which are followed in judicial doctrines which were followed in Britain. But after this act, what happened was they recognized that India has some community specific legal needs. It means for Mohammedan community, there should be a Mohammedan law. For Hindu community, there should be law based on Hindu ideas or their way of, settling things within their family or society. So now the point is personal laws. Okay. Why I am elaborating it a lot? It is not elaborated to this extent in many of the notes in market, in many classes. You already know because you now are part of PSP. It means you have gone through a bit of polity. Why I'm stressing too much on these points? There is a reason. You all know some points like Uniform Civil Code, secularism. These are in news from past few years. Okay. So we should have this in mind, that what are the possible questions which UPSC can make. By using this analysis only, we can identify the depth to which we need to go. So have this in mind. In Constitution, we have Uniform Civil Code, okay, DPSP. There was a question in mains with regard to Uniform Civil Code. And when it comes to personal laws, we already know that there has been several judgments with regard to personal laws. It may be Sabrimala temple, and where there was a debate between individual right and, I would say, right to religion. And there was a debate with respect to triple talaq. So triple talaq, this issue was related to personal law. But you should know, when it comes to legal framework of India, when it comes to this structure by which Supreme Court was established, this came into being via this Resettlement Act of 1781. Have this in mind. Let's come to Pitt's India Act 1784. Naam kyun aaya? Why this name? Actually, the Prime Minister of Britain at the time was Pitt the Young. So his father was also a Prime Minister of Britain, so he was called Pitt the Younger. So what was the situation in the background? The situation was, British Parliament was observing that this English East India Company is becoming too much powerful. The point is, British English East India Company was having too much power. Means they were not stopping only on the 3 presidencies. They were expanding. So by seeing their expansion in terms of political matters, this British Parliament resolved to change the structure. And what they did, they made this act. So through this act, Indian affairs came into the direct control of British government. And why they took control? Because they thought this company was the main purpose of this company was to trade. And during this trading, somehow they got this revenue collection right and civil rights. I would say rights on civil justice. Consider, but they are giving us taxes, but now they're expanding. And expanding in the name of British. So now, since they are expanding in the name of British, and British itself were imperial powers, so they said, now we need direct control of British. Now we need direct control of Indian affairs. When I say direct control, don't consider it like this, that Crown is going to directly rule. No. What happened was, you all know that there was Court of Director. And this Court of Director was based in Britain. You all know that. What happened was, this Court of Director was administrating all kind of functions which are happening in Indian subcontinent, in British territories. But now what they did, they made another body, Board of Control. British government said, you are traders, just limit to the trade. It means Court of Director, just limit yourself to the trade, commercial part. And Board of Control is going to take care of political part. There was a separate body. Now I'm asking you, just tell me whether this statement is true or false. Okay, I'm just saying the statement is, by Pitt's India Act 1784, Board of Control and Court of Director, 2 separate bodies were established. Just tell me, this statement is correct or not? Majority of students are saying false, but there are some students who are saying true. Okay. Yes, Priyanka. So the thing is, yes, I'm repeating the statement. Statement is, by Pitt's India Act 1784, 2 separate bodies, Board of Control and Court of Directors, were established. Okay. This statement is false because Court of director was present earlier also, na? I shared the whole story of court of directors here. There was English East India Company. There were these merchants who were major investors. Among these investors, there was a general court. From this general court, there was a court of director. From this general court of director was made especially for reporting to the British government. Okay, so this was not a new body. Which was the new body? New body was Board of Control. Okay, now, yes, this is also called dual government system. So they distinguished between the commercial and political function of the company. I've already told you, court of director will handle this commercial trade function, and Board of Control, a new body, is going to handle this political function. Okay. Now the thing is, what was the composition of this Board of Control? This Board of Control was having 6 members. Okay. And they were supposed to manage this political affairs. When I say Board of Control, so Board of Control, members of Board of Control were from companies or from British government. Just tell me. Members of Board of Control were from company or British government. You all know Court of Director were from company. I asked the question from Board of Control. The word is control. Who wanted control in Indian subcontinent? Government. Don't you think you can relate this word control to the government? बस याद रखना कि भाई बोर्ड ऑफ कंट्रोल का मतलब किससे? गवर्नमेंट से, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट को टेंशन हो रही थी कि भाई ये इंग्लिश ने कंपनी के पास जा रहा है. Because just have this in mind that it was government who was having this tension that we should control this British territory in India from English East India Company. So have this in mind. It was Board of Control. Okay. Empowered the Board of Control to supervise and direct all operations of civil and military government or revenues of the British possessions in India. Have this in mind that before this act, it was English East India Company who was having domination with respect to collecting revenues. Now, British government said we are establishing a separate act and separate board, and they will check into the civil and military provisions. You just focus on your trade. You are traders, focus on your trade. Okay. Now, so this is what is given in Lakshmikant also. But the thing is, I have this intuition that UPSC can play with regard to Board of Control. How UPSC can play? Let's have a look. For political matters, the Board of Control was created. You all know. अब तक तो बिल्कुल दिमाग में बैठ जाना चाहिए. It should be established in your mind, because there is no tomorrow. My purpose is the whole lecture should be absorbed by you within this time. Okay. It should not be like this, that today I'm having this lecture, then I'm going to revise. No, you have to remember each and everything, all the possible texts and star points within this lecture. Then only I'll consider that my time was, on success line. And for commercial affairs, the court of director was appointed. Now the thing is, UPSC can play here. Board of Control took care of civil and military affairs. It comprised of 6 people. You all know that. UPSC can play on this fact. Just remember this, 6 people. Board of the President was Secretary of State. There was Chancellor of Exchequer or 4 Privy Councillors. Although this is not much important, okay? But have this in mind that these 5 people, 6th one is President of the Board. These 5 people from British government who were specialized in treasury work. Okay. Another is Secretary of State. What UPSC can do, UPSC can confuse you with this word Secretary of State and another statement that position of Secretary of State for India was created by Government of India Act 1858. I'm repeating a statement. Just tell me, is it true or false? Okay. I'm repeating the statement. Let me write. Many people miss otherwise. Post of Secretary of State for India was created by Government of India Act 1858. Okay. Just tell me this statement is true or false. Okay. Tell me. The nature of this chapter is based on some facts, and there are one or two questions which are going to be asked from this section, sometimes 2 or 3. So that's why I'm teaching in this way. Okay. Now, lovely people, can I get your attention for just few seconds here? This statement is true. Now many of you say, what is happening, sir? अभी आपने बताया कि सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट यहां बैठा है 1784. Mention है. Now you are saying that this post was created in 1858. Yes, UPSC can confuse you like this. And I'm not going to let this happen. What I need is your total attention. That's it. Let me give you an explanation. There's a difference between Secretary of State and Secretary of State for India. Whenever UPSC uses the word Secretary of State for India, this position was created in 1858. Okay. This Secretary of State for India, which was created, this position was created in 1858, was also known as, यहाँ पे नहीं लिखा क्या, नहीं लिखा, रहने दो, मैं बता रहा हूँ, लिखा हुआ है, Indian Secretary, India Secretary. Okay. So this Secretary of State for India was called Indian Secretary or India Secretary, or Principal Secretary of State for India, Majesty's Principal Secretary of State for India. So this was a different post altogether. Okay. The word is for India. But when it comes to Secretary of State, he was not for India. This position was not for India. Why I'm saying this? Because now till Pitt's India Act, we are talking about company rule, right? Company rule चल रहा है ना, तो company rule में किसी को नहीं पड़ी कि भाई what is going to happen in Indian context and it has to report it to Britain. No, that period was totally different. We are talking about 1784. That period is going to come gradually. Okay. Now, when we talk about Secretary of State for India, his total responsibility was to take report from Viceroy, who is representative of Crown in India, to take report from Viceroy what is happening in India, what changes need to be done, what is the result of our previous laws, are they working good or not, what Indians want, let us know, what are the major challenges which Britishers can face in India, let me know. I'm going to tell British Parliament and we are going to push some resources, push some forces for you. So that was the duty of Secretary of State for India. When I say Secretary of State, its job is different. His job was different. His job was English East India Company. This English East India Company should have this revenue part only, should not intervene in military and civil and revenue affairs. We are going to do this. We are going to use resources of this Governor General. Okay. And we are going to ensure that this Governor General works according to us. Okay. So there was no position of Viceroy till then. Okay. I hope it is clear now. If it is clear, just mark a thumbs up in comments. These things are not available to the depth in many notes, but I want that. Great. So this Secretary of State is just a Secretary of State of Board of Control. He is just President of Board of Control. But when we say Secretary of State for India, 1858, that was for whole of British India. Any kind of matter which is going to happen in India, British Crown was supposed to ask the Secretary of State for India or India Secretary, what is happening in India in that matter, tell me. But when it comes to the Secretary of State, he was just Secretary of State of this board of control. Yes, Kirti, I know students make these kind of mistakes. That's why I'm having this lecture. Thanks for being so patient and so attentive. Now, this is called dual system. I've told you the company was represented by Court of Directors and British government by Board of Control. Okay, British government was represented by Board of Control. The act mandated that all civil and military officers, yes, disclose their property in India and Britain within 2 months they're joining. So if I say that both 1773 Regulation Act and Pitt's India Act 1784 had provisions to work for this challenge of corruption in British English East India Company, don't you think this statement would be correct? Yes, this would be correct. I'm repeating this statement again. I'm saying if UPSC makes a statement, we can find provisions against corruption among officers of English East India Company to be found in 1773 Regulation Act as well as Pitt's India Act 1784. This statement would be correct. The reason is, when we talk about 1773 Regulation Act, Britishers, what this act was saying, this act was also saying that if you are an officer of English East India Company, don't engage yourself in private trade. You are here to do a job, just do your job. Second, never accept gifts from natives. This particular provision is found in 1773 Regulation Act. Then what British government found that abhi bhi nahi maan rahe. Still they are doing some corruption. So what they did, they said that as you enter into military of British in India or you enter into some civil position, some government position, what you need to do, that you need to disclose your property in India as well as in Britain. Okay, both within 2 months of their joining. Okay. And this provision is very well used in India also. When you people are going to join the civil services, you are also going to be asked as you move to this foundation course in LAPSNA. So you will be doing so many this formalities, paper formalities. Then they will ask that you have this much time. Just tell us how many assets you have, movable, immovable, bank account, whatever you have. Okay, so you have to report that so that they can see that this person, when he joined service, he was having 5,000 rupees or 500 rupees in account. Aspirant the, student the. But after joining, within 1.5 year, 2 years, these people are having lakhs of rupees in account. So that's how this government can identify what is going on. Okay. Saurav is saying no assets. Someone would say, sir, thanks for saying. We will ensure that before filing that, we will transfer assets of family or people in our name so that difference can be diminished. Some people have this tricks in mind. Another provision was the Governor General's Council's strength was reduced to 3 members. I told you that Warren Hastings was saying that you have given 4 members in my Executive Council. 4 members. Governor General plus 4 members. So in total there are 5, right? So if some law, some I would say, whatever kind of decision which needs to be passed through this Governor General Council, it needs majority. Okay, so if these people club together and say no, person yet held this post of Governor General, what they did, they changed this four members of Executive Council to 3 members. It means now there will be Governor General plus 1, 2, 3. Don't you think it would ease the life of Governor General of Bengal? Yes, because when it comes to majority from here, so now Governor General would be having more chances. Yes, I am repeating it again. I am saying before this, we are talking about provisions of Pitt's India Act. Okay, I'm saying before this Governor General of Bengal was having 4 members in his Executive Council. Okay, when I say Executive Council, what does it mean? It means these 4 members, along with Governor General, would take crucial decisions with regard to administration of British India. Okay. Consider this, that this council was called executive because execution was the main job. Whatever laws have been made by British government, whatever rules have been made by English East India Company, you have to implement those laws. That's why the name was Executive Council. Although if I ask whether Governor General and this Executive Council was having legislative powers or not, what would be your answer? You will say it yes or no. Just tell me yes or no. I'm repeating the question again. I'm asking, if I ask this Governor General and 4-member Executive Council, the word executive is because they are responsible for executing laws. But if I ask whether these people were also having legislative powers, it means to make laws or not, yes or no? Yes. Kya baat hai? Majority of the answers are correct. Yes. So they were called executive council, but they were having legislative powers also. There was no separate legislative council at that time. Okay. Soon we are going to have legislative council. Just hold your patience. Okay. Now the thing is, Governor General was saying it is difficult to manage views of 4 members in the council. We need to reduce it. So what government did, government reduced this to 3 members. Okay. And within 3, what government said, that Commander-in-Chief of the British Crown's Indian Army would be 1 member. Have this in mind, that Governor General and 1, 2, 3, 1 member would be Commander-in-Chief, yeah, Chief of British Army. Okay. And when I say British Army, it means, what do you think? This Commander-in-Chief of British Crown's Army would be more loyal to Governor General of Bengal or the Crown or the government in Britain? Yes. The story is that this person was more tilted towards British government or Crown. Okay. So Governor General was having this issue also. Okay. But fine, because on the last point, that Governor General has to follow the rules made by government. Okay. So British, don't you think this Pitt's India Act and this provision itself shows that what British government was doing? British government was putting this important person within the Council of Executive, within the Council of Governor General. So this way, whatever this Governor General is trying to do in India, this British government would know, because within this Executive Council, they have this important person. Okay. Governor General was given the right to veto. Earlier, that person was not having right to veto. So now they have right to veto. Right to veto means if these people club together and say no. So earlier what was happening, that Governor General was not having right to veto. He has to accept whatever majority is saying. But now Pitt's India Act at one point is tightening, but another point is ki chalo, we are presenting this. Amit, always remember, I'm talking about provision. This provision was mentioned here. Okay, sometimes something is mentioned at act, but sometimes not enacted or enacted. Okay, for example, when I'll be coming to diarchy, so I'll be telling you that I'm giving you example here because you asked a question. So I want that no confusion should be there at any point of lecture. Okay. So at provincial level, diarchy was removed. Okay. But when it comes to Government of India Act 1935, so at provincial level, diarchy was removed, but it was mentioned that diarchy will be implemented at the level of center. So this was a provision of Government of India Act 1935. Although this provision was never implemented. Okay. Yes. Alok, yes, you are saying right. Yes, this was making Governor General a bit, powerful. The reason was this position of Governor General was important, and Governor General was having these apprehensions because this Governor General was saying, I need these powers. I need these powers. This particular issue of giving Governor General of Bengal more power was going on after the 1773 Regulation Act. So inadvertently, British government has to do something for them now. So that's why they made this. The presidencies of Madras, Bombay became subordinate to Bengal. You all know that. In effect, Calcutta became the capital of British provinces. Now the thing is, if we talk about features, there was a distinction between British commercial and political activities. You know that. For the first time, the term British possessions in India was used. Have this in mind. For the first time, this term was used. This act gave British government direct control over Indian administration. And when we are saying direct control, why we are saying? Because of board of control. Because this board of control was established. That's why we are saying that direct control over Indian administration was achieved. The company became subordinate to British government, unlike as in previous Regulating Act 1773, where the government only sought to regulate the matters and not take over. So in 1773, what was happening? It was called Regulating Acts of 1773. We were regulating, but now we have took over these matters which are beyond these commercial interests, and we have put them under board of control. Okay. This act established Crown's authority in the civil and military administration, and its Indian territories commercial activities were still monopoly of company. You all know that. Okay. Now let's come to the story around this so that you never forget these provisions and correct your answers well. Now the thing is, do you think the steps taken by the provisions mentioned in this Pitt's India Act were implemented in letter and spirit? No. You would say, how can this happen? It's a Pitt's India Act made by British Parliament. How can this not be implemented in India when Parliament is saying so? The thing is, they said that this act created a kind of confusion between Governor General and its responsibility toward, and his responsibility toward Board of Control and Court of Director. Some of the powers were overlapping. One point was, English East India Company said, what would you call a revenue collection? English East India Company asked, when we say revenue collection, we are earning revenue from trade, and we are earning revenue from the arrangements which we have made with the native Nawabs and native rulers. So we are providing them some services, and in lieu of those services, we are getting these revenues. Then this company said, how you are going to categorize them? So that's why this is considered as some drawbacks of this act. This act was deemed to be a failure because there was no clarity on the boundaries between companies' powers and government's authority. Amit, got your answer or not? The tussle you are having in your mind is the same tussle which was happening in 1784 among British East India Company as well as those officers who were part of Board of Control. The Governor General had to serve two masters, East India Company and British Crown. There were no clear boundaries between responsibilities of the Board of Control and Court of Directors of the company. The Governor General had to take on sport decisions exercising discretion. So that's why it was considered कि ये तो failure हो गया. And after that came this Charter Act 1813. But before I come to this Charter Act, let me tell you what was happening in Europe at that time. What were the reasons why this act came? One reason was continental system. Of Napoleon. Can someone tell me what was the continental system of Napoleon? If you have read in world history. If not, no worries, I'm going to tell what is required to understand this act. But if you know, just tell me. If you don't know, just mention no. Because I am considering that you don't know anything. Okay? Okay, no worries. Let me tell you. So what was happening? You all know that Napoleon was a dominant power of his time when it comes to Europe, right? Napoleon had big ambitions and was having a lot of allies in Europe. What Napoleon did, Napoleon told his allies in Europe that stop imports from France, sorry, from Britain. I mean Britain. So he was sitting in France and he was saying to all adjacent allies, all countries who were friends of Napoleon, who were under the influence of Napoleon, to stop imports from Britain. Britain was enemy of France at that time. So it was a trade embargo. I would tell you, I would request you to focus on my words because my writing is a kind of calligraphy. Okay, so it can only be understood by some, I would say, highly intellectual people. Okay, so just focus on my words. This way you will be able to understand. So I consider that you people are intellectual, right? So after this trade embargo, many of the private companies of Britain who were having good amount of trade with Europe came to the crown and they said, sir, you are having problems with Napoleon. Why we are crushing in between? And government said, you are crushing in between? What do you mean? So they said, sir, you are having problems with Napoleon, and Napoleon has told all his allies that good one is Saurav. Good, Saurav is saying we are Shabbirsir's student, so we are intellectual. Okay, got your point. Shabbirsir's writing you are commenting upon. Got it. The thing is, now they said we are having huge amount of losses because these nations are not taking our imports. So what was happening earlier, many of the industries, to give you an example, industries of Liverpool area, so they were exporting to these European countries, they were having revenues, and from these revenues they were giving these taxes to British government. So now they said, do something about it. We need some markets where we can sell our products. So British government asked, what can we do? Give us some idea. They said, you have given license to trade in Indian subcontinent to one company called English East India Company. We are also a private company like English East India Company, but you have given too much power to this English East India Company because this company is having exclusive rights to trade in Indian subcontinent. Please remove these exclusivity clause from their charter, from their license. British government said, okay, let's do this because we need revenue, we need taxes, we need jobs. So let's do this. So that's why, that was one reason of bringing Charter Act 1813. Although after every 20 years, this Charter Act came into place. Okay. So when this Charter Act came into place in 1813, they said, now English East India Company will not be having monopoly to trade in Indian area, except this trade with China. It means majorly trade was in sphere of opium and trade in tea with India. Okay. So these were the two things. These were the exceptions. Other areas were opened for other British companies. What do you think? What would be its impact for Indian traders? Positive or negative? Tell me positive or negative. Because UPSC might ask question on the impact also, not just provisions. Yes, negative impact. No, Priyanka, it would be negative. The reason being, now a lot of companies of British origin, private companies, would jump into Indian market with a lot of products, with predatory pricing, because they were having modern industries, modern machineries to make these products in less time with less resource. So this provision further created problem for Indian small scale industry. Okay, have this thing in mind. Now, other than this, let me tell you one more thing. British government also separated an amount of 1 lakh rupees to be used for education in India, although it could not be used for a long time even after this Charter Act 1813, because there was a debate whether to give education to Indians in Anglicist way of education or Orientalist, means English way of education or vernacular way of education. So there was a debate around it. So there was a provision with regard to this. Charter Act 1813 for the first time explicitly defined the constitutional position of the British territories in India. It means it was the first time where British government clearly said that these are the British territories, and their administration, their administration, civil justice, all has to follow the British constitutional principles, and these comes under Britishers. Now came Charter Act 1833. It is among the important ones because it was considered as the final step towards centralization. Why I'm saying final step towards centralization? Because Governor General of Bengal was made Governor General of India. Okay. It means Lord William Bentinck. You all know the name. Lord William Bentinck was the first Governor General of India. So Governor General of India was vested with all civilian and military powers. Okay. When I'm saying all civilian and military powers, It means now that person who was in executive council is supposed to support Governor General of India. Got it? Earlier, I asked you a question that within the executive council of Governor General of Bengal, there was Commander-in-Chief of the British Army. And whose British Army? Crown's British Army. Okay? Now, when this Governor General of Bengal was given the status of Governor General of India, his stature in terms of civil and military powers were also enhanced. Okay, have this thing in mind. This thing is not cleared to this extent in paras which are mentioned in Lakshmikant. Okay, but I want that no matter what kind of question UPSC make, you should crack it. It deprived the governor of Bombay and governor of Madras from legislative power. Now remember one thing. When I made the diagram and mentioned you and told you that by 1773 Regulation Act, Governor of Bengal was given the status of Governor General of Bengal. This was a start of transmission of power of Governor of Bombay and Governor of Madras towards Governor General of Bengal. I used the word start, and I asked you at that time that I'm going to elaborate within this lecture why I use the word start. I use the word start because this process started where these governors and their stature was reduced in order to centralize the administration, and this centralization was completed to a lot of extent in Charter Act 1833, and that's why I use the word final step. Okay, at this time these legislative power was taken away from these Bombay and Madras governor. Okay, now laws made under previous acts were known as regulations, while the laws made under this act were known as acts. It ended the activities of East India Company as a commercial body. And why I'm saying this, what is the meaning of this? Ek to baat hoti hai batane ki, this is written. But the thing is, why it is written? What does it mean? The meaning is, earlier the word regulation was used because the main intention of bringing these laws was to regulate the affairs of English East India Company. To regulate the affairs of English East India Company, because they were having commercial footprints in India. But after this 1833 Charter Act, this trading power, this trading segment of English East India Company was taken away. Okay, and making it a purely administrative body. It means now they're not going to trade. Since they are having huge amount of experience in terms of administration, they have created some offices. They have a regimented system of getting things done in terms of civil administration, in terms of judiciary, in terms of revenue. Then British thought why they are having interest in trade. Whenever a private company is having political interests as well as trading interests, it means that all other trading partners are going to suffer. I'm going to repeat it again. The background why this was made. In 1813, other English East India Company were allowed to enter and trade in India. That's what you know, right? Monopoly was removed except this tea and trade with China. These companies were saying that you have opened ways for us to trade in India, but this English East India Company is having too much power. So you need to remove its commercial interest because it is costing us business. Whatever company they want to support, because they are having power there, whatever private company they want to support, they support only that British private company. So now this British government understood this whole game and they said, okay, now you are a purely administrative body, no commercial interest. Introduced law member Macaulay in Governor General's Council, and Macaulay has a lot of role in India's legal system. Whatever you read, IPC, Indian Penal Code, Indian Criminal Procedure Code, CRPC, Indian Evidence Act, all these basic rule books of Indian legal system originated from the work of Macaulay. Although Macaulay used provisions of Britain and other parts of the world altogether to suit the Indian context, but the thing is, Macaulay has a great role in Indian legal system. Okay. Someone has asked a question. Let me clear it. Saurav is asking that earlier under 1784 Act, Board of Control was vested with civil and military power, but in Charter Act 1833, now Governor General has become now commercial body. Okay. Saurav, एक तो होता है गलत, ठीक है, एक होता है सरासर गलत. ये इंटरप्रिटेशन सरासर कैटेगरी का गलत है, ठीक है. एंड आई हैव दिस थिंग इन माइंड दैट यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू have this misconception again. In 1784 Act, there was Board of Control. Okay. The word control itself means this Board of Control is representing British government. That was fine. This Board of Control was having civil and military power. Bilkul sahi baat. Correct. When I am saying 1833, the whole nature has changed. It is a final step towards centralization. Now, this Governor General of Bengal has become Governor General of India. And all the civil and military powers has come into the pocket of this Governor General of India. In your comment, I'm saying Governor General has become commercial now. No. I'm saying that Governor, now English East India Company is not going to be a commercial. It ended the activities of the English East India Company as commercial body. Now English East India Company is not going to be a commercial body. Gaye wo din. Now it would be focused on civil, military, revenue. Right, Saknek? Sakib is asking, sir, please explain the thin line between regulation and act again. Okay. Sakib, when we say regulation, the word regulation was used because these acts which were made by British Parliament during this time had this thing in mind that we have to regulate the affairs of this English East India Company. Regulate. Okay. But when we talk about now, means we are standing in 1833. Now we have removed the commercial body. We have removed the commercial activities of English East India Company. We have said, get away from commercial interests, now become a pure administrative body. So now word administration has come, commercial has gone. That's why now this word acts was used. Got the point? I'm seeing a lot of more comments also. I'm going to come and resolve each one's dispute. Just hold on to it. Then came Charter Act 1853. Okay. Yes, someone has asked, sir. Okay, Ashna is asking, so what will be the role of BOC now? Ashna, BOC is sitting in Britain, right? Board of Control is sitting in Britain. This BOC is going to overview this work of Governor General of India with regard to civil and military powers, or I would say military actions. So now, when British government would be interested in knowing what is Governor General of India doing in India, then they won't call to chodo, then they won't write letter to Governor General of India. They will first ask this board of control that you are representative of government, just tell us what is being done by this Governor General of India. So board of control still exists. Okay. Better question if you want to ask, किसी ने पूछा नहीं, but मैं बता देता हूं. किसी को पूछना चाहिए था कि कोर्ट ऑफ डायरेक्टर का क्या काम होगा? What would be the role of court of director now? Because you have said that commercial body activities, work as commercial was gone, and court of director का तो काम commercial था, उसका क्या होगा? Okay, Ashna ने पूछ लिया again. Okay, so Ashna, when I am saying court of director, that court of director is a component of English East India Company, right? Don't you think this English East India Company was having hold in other territories of the world beyond the territories which are discussing right now, which we call British Indian territories, right? So this court of director has to report the overall revenue, commercial activities to the government. Okay, so this English India Company was having commercial work, but beyond British India. Okay, they were having some territories in Indian Ocean, they were having some territories within them in other parts of the world also. Yes, it is aspect of India only. And thanks for asking this question. I could clear this smoke, which कई लोगों को बाद में दिमाग में आता. Some of you might have had this in mind after some time, but I want everything should be clear cut now. Thanks for asking. Charter Act 1853 separated the legislative and executive function. Number one, have this in mind. Until now, what we have read, that Governor General, first he was governor, then Governor General of Bengal, then Governor General of India, but all the time there was an executive council who was doing both works. But now, through Charter Act 1853, what was happening? This legislative and executive functions were separated. Okay, and this Charter Act was coming after a gap of every 20 years. 1813, 20 years, 1833. After 20 years, 1853. Okay. Provided for the addition of 6 new members called legislative councillors to the council known as Indian Legislative Council. It introduced for the first time local representation in Indian Central Legislative Council. Local representation for the first time in Indian Central Legislative Council. Okay. So Central Legislative Council is having 6 members. Charter Act 1853. And they are telling that local representation has to be ensured. Introduced an open competition for civil service. Okay, this idea of having open competition for civil service was also discussed during this Charter Act 1833, but it could not formalized due to apprehensions of top officials of English East India Company. So finally, it got introduced in 1853 Charter Act, and this competition was thrown open for Indians also. Okay, Priyanka, when I say local representation, it means representation of Indians. Representation of Indians. I'm going to, elaborate more on this. What was the composition? When I say local representation, it means representation of Indians. Okay, there was not much discussion of giving self-rule to Indians. Okay, so that was the background of 1853 Charter Act. In place of background, I would like to use the word impact. They have said that we need to introduce local representation in legislative council, but not much came into force in India. So this was a period where there were some issues going on. Some issues like, you all know that 1853 and after some years 1857, we all know that there was a mutiny. Britishers say that there's a mutiny. We say that this was the first war of independence. So British government became very clear. They became very clear that these people are messing with some things. If these people incorporated the views of India, give more representation to Indians, then things could have been better. Okay, Fatima is asking, sir, role of Central Legislative Council. Fatima, earlier we were saying that these were the major presidencies or areas where Britishers were having dominance. Now these areas were increasing beyond these points. What was needed that for all these areas, there should be one body for making laws related to important provisions, important topics. This Central Legislative Council was one step for bringing centralization of legislature in India. Before that, Executive Council was doing these things. But now, when there will be a separate Legislative Council, and they are trying to, bring a, element of representation of Indians, what they are trying to do, they want to have this image that it is Indians. They are taking Indians' view also for making laws for all of the British India. So the role of Central Legislative Council would be to make laws related to laws which are going to be implemented in all of the British India. Got it, Fatima? Okay. Now, you all know that after this 1857, what happened was, yes, Ashna, that is very much correct. This was also headed by Governor General of India. After this 1857 mutiny or First War of Independence, now British Crown decided that they are going to take the control of British territories in India directly in their hand, and they are going to remove this company rule. And that's why we say that Crown rule came. Crown rule came in 1858 through Government of India Act 1858. So what happened by Government of India Act 1858? Now Queen said that Indians need not to worry. Now they are direct subjects of the great crown of Britain. And now we are going to bring responsible government for Indians. One of the most important provision was British Parliament said that a lot of crisis which happened in 1857 was due to expansionist nature of Governor General of India during this time. When you read modern history, you all read about doctrine of lapse, subsidiary alliance, right? You have read about Dalhousie, right? Wellesley. So many of the Indian princes, many of the Indian people were not happy happy with this expansionary policy of Britishers. Then Queen said through this Government of India Act 1858, now our boundaries will remain same. You need not to worry, we are not going to expand. So you have to leave your insecurities. People were happy. Oh, very well said. By this Government of India Act, this Queen of Britain was not just Queen of Britain. This Queen Victoria was declared as Empress of British India. Just remember, she was declared Empress of British India. Within this Government of India Act 1858, the Office of Board of Control and the system of Court of Director, which was already limited, this BOC was also finished. Means there was no role of Board of Control now, because now Queen was having direct rule in India. So what they did, this Governor General of India was given the stature of Viceroy. Viceroy means representative of Queen. Also, there was separate office, Secretary of State for India. This separate office was created, Secretary of State for India. Okay. This Secretary of State for India was above Viceroy. Viceroy or Governor General of India. So this Viceroy and Governor General of India is sitting in India, and this above him, the Secretary of State for India is sitting in Britain, and he is directly, he or she can say, was directly reporting to this Queen, Crown. And when I say directly reporting to Crown, it means via Parliament, via British government. Okay. Along with this, Queen Proclamation, which is also regarded as Government of India Act 1858, also said this, that we, in gradual manner, we are going to establish a responsible government in India. What does this responsible government mean? It means gradually they will find a way by which Indians can be incorporated within government. Okay. So this was happening in this time. I'm also going to ask you some questions, but let me tell you some happenings which was there after this Government of India Act 1858. After this act, there were some apprehensions that despite this Queen's proclamation, means Government of India Act 1858, Indians would be treated equally. Very few Indians got such opportunity, as the British authorities were hesitant to accept them as equal partners. And we all know Lord Curzon carried out the partition of Bengal in 1805, and we all know there was a massive famine in that area, which cost many lives for Indians. So Indians at that time knew that no matter how much goodness this or flowery language this Queen Proclamation use, but there is nothing for Indians as of now. Indian National Congress was also agitating for more reforms, that we need more reforms, we need self-governance for Indians. Earlier Congress leaders were moderates, but you all know that after this 1905, things changed. In modern history, you read about 1907 split, Surat split. You also read about 1905. You also read about the role of Aurobindo Ghosh. So these things were also having impact on the legal posturing of Britishers. When I say legal posturing, means they were also thinking that some reforms are needed. INC at that time, for the first time, asked that we need home rule. Gopal Krishna Gokhale met Morley in England, who was Secretary of State that time. There was similar deputation where a group of allied Muslims led by Aga Khan met Lord Minto. Minto was viceroy at that time. They demanded that we need separate electorate for Muslims. Jim Morley was a member of the Liberal government and he wanted to make positive changes in Indian governance. But one thing is clear, that in this period, there was growth of nationalism in India. And British wanted to break this nationalism and wanted to break this nationalism in such a way that they may have this thing in, I would say, legal posturing, that it was your demand, it was Indians, it was demand of these subjects. They demanded this, that's why we made these provisions. So that's why they introduced these provisions where they introduce separate electorate for Muslims. Before we go to the separate electorate, let's identify some key provisions. Legislative council at the center and the provinces increased in size. You need not to remember these facts, 16 to 60 and all this. No. Only point worth remembering here is that Indians were demanding that we need more participation. Then Morley Minto said, Tathastu, low. Legislative council at the center and provinces increase in size. Both center and provinces increase in size. Legislative council at the center and provinces were to have 4 categories of members as follows. Now, please give me your attention. Okay. This is my star point. When I say star point, if UPSC play from here, then many students can mark wrong. Why I'm saying this? Legislative council as center and provinces were have 4 categories. 4 categories of members were ex officio members. Ex officio members means Governor General and members of Executive Council. Okay. Someone who is the Governor General of India is going to be a member now of Legislative Council, is going to be the head. Nominated official members means government officials who were nominated by Governor General, means Governor General appointed someone, some officers from various departments. Within the Legislative Council, I'm saying, Legislative Council का काम है law बनाना, to make laws. Nominated officials were there. Nominated non-official members, nominated by Governor General, but were not government officials. And there were elected members elected by different category of Indians. Okay. Now my question is, if a statement is, after this Government of India Act 1909, or we say Morley Minto reforms, okay, the composition of Legislative Council at center and province, या सिर्फ ये भी कह सकता है, composition at the of Legislative Council was having majority of non-official members. A statement would be correct or a statement would be true or false. Just tell me, statement would be true or false. I'm repeating the statement again. After enactment of Morley Minto reforms, yeah, as per the provisions of Morley Minto reforms, the composition of Legislative Council was such that non-official members were in majority. Non-official were in majority. Official in majority or non-official in majority? So I said non-officials were in majority. True or false? True or false? Tell me. Keep coming. I need at least absolute majority here. Absolute majority means participation of more than 50%. Answers of more than 50% of the people who are sitting in the class. Okay, ठीक है. Some people said true, some people said false. And UPSC will love to lay trap in this statement. The elected members, I have added this thing. Yes, non-official members were in majority. I asked that non-official members were in majority. Some people were saying true, some people were saying false. The answer is true. Why some people make this mistake? Because they have in this mind that officials were having majority. Nah, Britishers were having this majority, officers were having this majority. So they correlate with this thing. Non-official means Indians ki baat kar rahe hain. Okay, they are talking about Indians. No. Non-official members were in majority, but because however, since some of the non-official members were nominated, in total non-elected majority was there. Indians were given membership to the thing is, अब now come to this point. Why I was saying that this could be a scope of a statement where many students will mark wrong. You all have these provisions. You are going to read this workbook, which I have uploaded on LMS. But the thing is, it's my duty to mark where you are going to make mistake. Ex officio members means they are talking about officers, means who have already holding office, they are getting membership. Nominated official members means they are being appointed in legislative council, although they were in separate department. Let me give an example. Consider department, irrigation department. Okay, so there was an irrigation department in the time of this Morley Minter reforms. So there was someone who is a director of irrigation department. Okay, so what Viceroy was doing, he was nominating this director of irrigation department within this legislative council, that this person will be having right to speak, having right to vote, because whenever there is a legislation with respect to irrigation, who can be having better knowledge than this person? Let's have this person in here. Okay, nominated official members, nominated non-official members. So Governor General was also nominating some other people. Sometimes these people were those who were in good books of Governor General of India or Viceroy. He would nominate these people. They would be some businessmen. They might be some people who are having some dominance within the administration. They may be working some, I would say, some other Britishers, some other company holders, some lords of some estates, tea estates. So these were nominated, non-official members, and these were the elected. जहाँ से हमारा भविष्य तय होना है, elected members by different category of Indians. So now, if we say non-official members were in majority, yes, non-official members were in majority, because these were non-official, because elected, and these were non-official. These were in majority. Okay? But there is nothing good in this, because if we talk about elected, so elected were in minority. Elected were in minority. The elected members were elected indirectly. When I am talking about elections to this central legislative council, those Indians who are going to come in this council, this election was indirect. It was not direct. How? The local bodies elected an electoral college. Local bodies means there were some municipal corporations. Okay. So these local bodies were having this electoral college, means they were selecting some group of people. Okay. And these group of people would elect members of legislative council. Let me give an example. Okay. Sagnik, I am clearing it again. When it comes to legislative council, okay, so there were 4 categories. Number 1, ex officio members. Okay. Number 2, officials who are nominated. Number 3, nominated non-official members. Number 4, elected. If I ask who was in majority in total legislative council, non-official. Okay. But if I ask Whether elected were in majority? No, elected ones were in minority. So we can understand this, that majority of power was in hand of Britishers. Okay. Now the point is, those Indians who were elected, so how they were elected? So consider that there is a municipality of Kolkata, Bombay, and other areas, right? So there were some municipal councillors there. Okay, there was elections at the time. These members from among themselves will select. Electoral college means those people who have power to give vote. Okay. So these people have selected some people. Consider this is Kolkata municipality, this is Mumbai municipality, this is Madras municipality. Okay. Each municipality is having 100 members. I'm having a rough example. Okay. So each one of them select 10 members. This is electoral college. Okay. So now electoral college is of 30. Okay. Now from a particular province, I'm giving an example. Particular province, if you have to vote, because in a province, if there are 3 seats, 4 seats, people 5 seats, 6 seats. So what would happen on these 6 seats? Who would vote? These people would vote. Okay. So one component of electoral college is this. Another component is this. These members would in turn elect the members of the elected members were from local bodies, means these are from local bodies. This is electoral college number 1. The chamber of commerce means 30 people are there who are going to vote in provincial elections and elections of central legislative council. Other than that, there will be some chamber of commerce, means businessmen. For example, FICCI. So consider that 30 people who are going to vote, electors are from local, and say 20 are from business community. Consider 10 are from landlords. Consider 10 are from, 5 are from universities, trader communities, Muslims. So this is how this electoral college was formed. It means not every Indian was supposed to give vote. These few privileged people were voting in the election of central legislative council as well as provincial legislative council. If you are clear until now, just mention confirm. Okay. Now, so this class is going to be extended in another slot because I have a lot of work to do with this section also. Okay. So see you again. Till then I am going to continue with the lecture.